Well, thank you very much, everybody. I want to start by wishing my very good friend, Prime Minister Abe of Japan, a very happy birthday. He's 39 years old today. So please extend my wishes to the Prime Minister. He's a great gentleman, and we have had tremendous success. As you know, in addition to what we're talking about today, they're building Japan many car plants in the United States, which they weren't doing for a long time. And they're building in Michigan, Ohio, lots of different states, and we just appreciate it very much. It's been a tremendous investment. But we're here to talk about a little bit of a different purchase, and that's good as far as we're concerned. And I want to thank you very much. Very much. Thank you. So we're gathered here today at the White House this afternoon to discuss a very strong and groundbreaking achievement for the United States and Japan, the signing of the new U.S.-Japan trade agreement and the U.S.-Japan digital trade agreement. Digital is becoming a very big factor in the world. These two deals represent a tremendous victory for both of our nations. They will create countless jobs, expand investment and commerce, reduce our trade deficit very substantially, promote fairness and reciprocity, and unlock the vast opportunities for growth. In the United States, these deals are a game changer for our farmers and our ranchers. We love our farmers and we love our ranchers. We've been working very hard on this, providing them with significantly enhanced access to a critical foreign market. In a moment, I'll be really honoring a lot of the folks in the room that are here with us from farm country, ranch country, and we're going to be witnessing a historic signing by Ambassador Robert Lighthizer, an ambassador from Japan, a long trip, but you just got here, Sojiyama of Japan, and we're grateful to both of you for the outstanding job you've done and all of the people that were involved with both of you, your staffs and your representatives. Thank you both very much, Bob. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's a lot of work. We're also delighted that Secretary of Transportation Elaine Chao is here. Where's Elaine? Where is Elaine? Hi, Elaine. Right. She's busy, doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much, honey. Deputy Secretary of Agriculture Stephen Chensky is here. Where's Stephen? Right, Stephen? Hi, Stephen. Good to see you. Great job. Thank you very much. Spoke to Sonny last night. We're doing well. A very great gentleman, a very popular man, too, in the world, and especially his wonderful state, Steve Daines. Steve, I saw you back there. Hi, Steve. I saw your poll numbers. You are strong. You're doing good. And that's a good decision by the voters, I can tell you. Thanks, Steve. Representatives Jody Arrington and Kevin Hern, and thank you, fellas, for being here, as well as North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Doug, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Doug. Where's that? Good, Doug. Good job. Say hello to your wife. North Carolina Lieutenant Governor Dan Forest. Hi, Dan. Hi. We just approved that last amount of money for the hurricane. You know about that, right? Iowa Lieutenant Governor Adam Gregg. Adam, great job. Great job. And many other state and local officials. We have some tremendously respected people here, political people. I want to extend a special welcome to all of the leaders here today representing American farmers and ranchers benefiting from this deal. There's a tremendously important deal and a very big deal, including those from our beef, pork, poultry, wheat, dairy, and corn associations. I would particularly like to recognize Zippy Duval. He's been with us from the beginning. Zippy, where's my Zippy? Hi. Mr. President. Very good, thank you for being here. Zippy's always here trying to make good deals for you folks, right? Yes, sir. He's the president and CEO of the American Farm Bureau Federation. And we're doing really well. In fact, we're doing a big deal with Japan, but you know, China's big buying again. You see that China's buying very big. Yes. A lot of people don't like to talk about that, but China's in the market buying very big agricultural. We're also joined by several senior leaders from our nation's top technology companies, including Chris Padella of IBM. Hi, Chris. How are you? How's IBM doing?
Doing very well, sir.
Very good. You have a lot to do with farming, too, I know, right? We do. With all of those programs that you do. Smart farming, a very smart farming.
Right.
Peggy Johnson of Microsoft. Peggy, thank you very much for being here. Please say hello, too. And Craig Albright of Business Software Alliance. Thank you very much, Craig. Appreciate it. We do appreciate your support, and it really is now smart farming. In fact, going to MIT doesn't hurt either, right? When you're a farmer nowadays, it's incredible what they do. From day one, my administration has fought tirelessly to achieve a level playing field for the American worker. In addition to the agreements we're signing with Japan today, we reached a tremendous agreement with Mexico and Canada to replace NAFTA with the new USMCA, and hopefully that'll get done in the not-too-distant future. Everybody wants it. Manufacturers want it. Farmers want it. Even unions want it. People want it. That's a great deal for all of the countries, but in particular, it's a great deal for us and our workers. We're also completely renegotiating, and now we've completed that and signed it, the U.S.-Korea trade agreement, substantially expanding American auto exports. It's made a tremendous difference. That was a terrible agreement, and we renegotiated it, and it's now a very good agreement for the United States. It was not a good agreement for the United States at all. Today's signing of the U.S.-Japan trade agreement and U.S.-Japan digital trade agreement builds on these incredible successes to the benefit of both of our nations. And I have to say that while we're here, and because of the fact that we're talking about agriculture, ethanol, and the farmers of Nebraska and Iowa and all of the different places that wanted it, we've come to an agreement, and it's going to be, I guess, about getting close to 16 billion barrels, right? Something like that. That's a lot.
16 billion gallons.
That's a lot. Say it again.
16 billion gallons.
That's a lot. That's a lot of gallons. So I think they should like me out in Iowa and all of the different places. Huh? I think so. And also, and very importantly, we've taken in tremendous amounts of money in the form of tariffs from China. China has eaten the cost of those tariffs because they've devalued their currency, and they've also pumped a lot of money into their system. Deflation is, we have no inflation. If anything, it's going below the number. So therefore, we're entitled to an interest rate cut. I hope the Fed does that, because we'd be like a rocket ship, and we're already the strongest economy in the world and doing better than just about any economy in the world. And a lot of people are asking us a secret, but would like to see an interest rate cut, a very substantial one, and whatever else they want to do. But we would be a rocket ship. And if you look at from the time I got elected, if you go to November 9th, the day after the election, we're up close to 60% in the market, which is numbers that are pretty much unheard of, because it's a fairly short period of time. Our country is doing really well. But we are taking care of our farmers out of the billions and billions of dollars that we've gotten. You know about that, Zippy, right? So we're giving $12 billion from the year before, $12 billion, and that's compliments of China. Thank you very much. And $16 billion this last year, and then we'll see what happens next year. Maybe by that time it's straightened out. But the farmers and ranchers were targeted, to put it mildly, by China. And it's nice that they're coming back. And by the way, China is also coming here on, their representatives are coming on Thursday and Friday, Bob, I believe. And so you'll start some negotiations. And the relationship's very good. As to whether or not we make a deal, I don't know, but there's certainly a good possibility. But the relationship is a very good one. But we've taken in billions of dollars, and of those many, many more billions, we're giving $16 billion to our farmers, because I asked Sonny Perdue, I said, Sonny, what was the amount of money that last year that the farmers were hurt? He said, sir, let me get back to you. He got back to me. The number was $16 billion. I said, that's okay. We're going to take $16 billion out of the tariff, so we're going to give it to the American farmer. And I think they appreciated that. It never gets reported by the fake news, as I say, but never gets reported. Never. I don't know why. They don't want to do it. And then, Zippy, as you know, we took $12 billion from the year before, And it also came from large amounts of tariffs. And people were actually saying, I read a report today, I believe in the Washington Times, where they talked about the tremendous amount of money that has actually come in from tariffs. And it's been a number that we've never even seen before in this country. We've had a tremendous amount of money coming in, and some of the Republican senators, and it's not a bad idea, said, why don't we give it, because we have a lot of money left over after taking care of our farmers. And what we're doing is we're bringing it right up to the level that the farmers were targeted by. So in theory, that should be in its own way a level playing field. The amazing thing about the farmer, and I've been with so many, they don't even want that, right?
That's right.
They just want a level playing field. They don't even want $16 billion. I think almost anybody else, Larry Kudlow, wants $16 billion. The farmer doesn't want it. They want a level playing field. They want to play the game the way it should be played. And I think we're probably pretty close to doing that too. But in the meantime, no other president would get $16 billion and $12 billion for the American farmer and rancher. That I can tell you. So maybe it was your great work. I don't know. Right?
Your work, Mr. President.
It was all of us, everybody standing up here, frankly. Under the terms of the agreement today, Japan is committed to dramatically increase market access to American food and agricultural exports. It's a very dramatic number. It's one of the larger trade deals ever signed. As a result, 126 million Japanese consumers will have greater access to high-quality American almonds, blueberries, corn, wine, poultry, and egg products, beef, pork, wheat, and so much more. Anything else you folks can think of? Do you want to shout it out? Anything, Steve? Anybody? No?
Beef.
Beef. Did I not say that? Ethanol. That's an interest. Let me think about that one. Once this agreement enters into force, Japanese tariffs will be completely eliminated so that Japan will not be charging us as they have for many, many years. And we appreciate, and substantially reduced over 90% of the United States agricultural exports. That's a big thing because we're getting charged a lot of tariffs, and it's okay for us to charge, but we can't have other countries charge. Our farmers, ranchers, and growers will now be able to compete fairly in Japan against major competitors worldwide. In addition to these agricultural agreements, the extraordinary digital agreement that we're signing, so that digital agreement is a very big deal in its own right. We're signing today sets standards on the $40 billion in digital trade between the United States and Japan, and we just won a big, talking about digital and talking about the internet, but we just won the big case, as you know. You people would really know, right? But that was a big case that we won on net neutrality. Just won it, and that's going to be see if maybe they won't even appeal it because it's a very hard case to appeal, but it was a tremendous victory in terms of speed and in terms of investment on the internet. This deal is remarkable in that it will ensure that Americans have a level playing field in trading cutting-edge products and service such as videos, music, ebooks, and software. These comprehensive provisions meet the gold standard of digital trade rules that was set in the landmark USMCA. And again, we hope that's going to get voted on. We hope that Nancy Pelosi gets it voted on because everyone wants it, and she'll have to make her own decision. Let her make her own decision. But I can tell you the American public is tired of do nothing. And we are doing a lot, and the Democrats are doing nothing. Thriving commerce between the United States and Japan is essential to advancing opportunity and prosperity for our people. The United States and Japan are the world's largest and third largest economies. Together, our nations comprise nearly 1/3 of the entire globe's GDP. Japan is America's third largest agricultural export market, and this makes it even bigger. And America is Japan's top foreign investor, and that's what I was talking about, all of the plants that are going up all over the country. I said to Prime Minister Abe, please, we need auto plants, and I said that right at the beginning when I first met with him and immediately liked him a lot, and they really produced, they're doing a lot of plants, not just auto. Many plants and factories are being built in the United States by Japan and Japanese companies. These agreements will ensure that our economic partnership flourishes brighter than ever before. I think we're probably at a stage with Japan where I don't think our relationship has ever been stronger or better than it is right now. In the months ahead, our teams will continue negotiations on remaining areas of interest to achieve a final and very comprehensive agreement. We're working on that right now. There's some big things that we're working on. And I'd like now to invite Ambassador Robert Lighthizer to provide further details on these historic deals. And I want to thank you very much. I want to thank everybody in the room for being here. And thank you very much to the media for being here, too. Thank you. Please, Robert.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you for helping us get this agreement across the finish line, but more importantly, thank you for reorienting trade policy in the United States in the direction of Americans, workers, farmers, and ranchers. For too long, we have lost our way, quite frankly, and during the last almost 3 years, you've brought us back, and I'm very grateful for that, and I'm grateful to have been a part of it. I want to thank, if I can, a few people on my team. We had a huge group involved. Jeff Garish and Greg Dowd, two of my deputies, Michael Beeman, Sharon Bomer-Laritzin, and then there are lots of other people who gets a lot of credit for doing this. Let me just quickly make the point that the President has already made. This is a very big trade deal. This is about $55 billion worth of trade. With this, we'll have more than 95% of the GDP that would have been in TPP. So it's very important for farmers. It's also important for digital trade. Japan is the biggest market for the United States in beef, pork, wheat, and it's a substantial market in a variety of other things, including potatoes, which weren't mentioned, and a lot of the nuts and other products. It also affects wine and the like. So we think we'll have substantial additional sales as a result of this. So thank you again, Mr. President. It's a pleasure. It's an honor for me to be the person who gets to sign this. I would like now to turn it over to the podium over to Ambassador Sugiyama, who is not only the ambassador from Japan to the United States, but also was very active in actually getting this deal across the finish line. So thank you very much.
Well, frankly speaking, I must tell you that I feel really daunting and I feel very much tense. And then I couldn't feel more honored to be here in this signing ceremony place in the White House, Mr. President. In front of this top leadership, no ambassador couldn't feel as I just told you. Mr. President, Ambassador Lighthizer, and member of Congress, and member of cabinet, and governors, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. Actually, I couldn't forget the time when Mr. President and my Prime Minister Abe declared just about 1 month and 1 year and 1 month ago or something in the sideline of the UNGA last year to declare that we should sooner than later kick off a bilateral trade agreement. That was 13 months ago or something. And with some reasons, I think it took de facto basis only something like 6 months to wrap things up by Mr. President and my Prime Minister in New York on the 25th of last month to declare that politically it was all done. It was only remaining, legal scrabble, technical sort of things. And then my people and Bob Lighthizer's people and your people and everybody spend 24 hours a day and night to finalize everything so that we are able to have today for the formal signing ceremony day to sign up the bilateral trade agreement, as well as Mr. President rightly mentioned, important thing is plus digital trade agreement, as well as other related attached document and something. Actually, I had to sign 16 or 18 places prior to this with my very beautiful mountain pen. Actually, Mr. President was kind enough to give me a really, really memorable pen to sign with his really good signatures. So to me, as Bob Lighthizer was kind enough to mention, that from the scratch I was in the team, and then Bob Lighthizer and my Minister Motegi and their team and our team seem to be sometimes very much tense discussion, something which is quite not abnormal because after all this is a trade deal, but basically based upon the fundamental friendship and trust relations between the two leaders, Mr. President and my Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, and plus Ambassador Lighthizer and his opposite number, Minister Motegi, and us. So we have had really serious and fierce sometimes debates, which is really natural, but really our whole sort of atmosphere was something to go to try to target the same target to gain for both of us a beneficial kind of outcome, which is something that I feel very much honored to sign this afternoon. So, and then as Mr. President and Lighthizer, Ambassador Lighthizer mentioned, we have, well, Mr. President, unfortunately, we are outnumbered by the people you have here, because you are here in the States. We are in Washington, but nonetheless, we have 3 gentlemen from Japan Commerce Association of Washington, D.C., Tetsuo Iguchi Toshiba Corporation, here they are, and then 2 Mitsubishi Corporation, Go Eguchi and Akihiko Nakazono. And these are the guys who are kind enough to join us. As I told you repeatedly, we are unfortunately slightly outnumbered, but they are kind enough to come over to see this signing ceremony because of the importance for the Japanese business and Japanese market and all Japan. Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, everybody. Thank you.
I'm not doing this until you tell me.
You go ahead. I do want to pay compliments. Look at these 5 gentlemen right there, right there. That's central casting. They are very tough negotiators. Tough negotiators. Good. Congratulations. Very big one, and I'd like to just introduce, if I might, some of the folks here. As you know, Ambassador Garish and Dowd have been introduced, and great job, fellas. But Bruce Kettler, Director of the Indiana State Department of Agriculture. Eddie Settle, Commissioner and Chairman of the Wilkes County, North Carolina. And that's a lot of territory. That's great stuff. Where are you? Good. Congratulations. Tony Kurtz, State Representative, Vice Chair of the Wisconsin Assembly Committee on Agriculture. Good job, Tony. Go back and say you did it. You're going to be, you can run for anything, right? Barbara Glenn, National Association of State Department of Agriculture. Barbara, congratulations. Ben Scholes, National Association of Wheat Growers. That's a big deal, Ben. The wheat. They're ready to buy it, I'll tell you. They're going to buy a lot of wheat. Jennifer Houston, National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Wait, I thought that was you. I could tell with that. Kevin Ross, National Corn Growers Association. Congratulations. Fantastic job. Randy Mooney, National Milk Producers Federation. Back here, Mr. President. Great job. Good, Randy. David Herring, National Pork Producers Council. And David, You are a very big beneficiary to things that are going on, but the pork is off the charts, the numbers, aren't they? Huh? It's going good.
This is wonderful news for our pork producers
Yeah.
in this country. Japan has been our #1 value market for many years, and it's just great momentum, and it creates tremendous opportunity in rural America.
And China's a big buyer right now, right?
Pork's starting to move to China.
Yep, I know. They're going to be a very big buyer. It's already happened. Cody Carson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cody Carson, National Sorghum Producers. Where's Cody? Great, good job. Good job. You happy about this one? You said the right thing. I got to be careful. Oh, I know that. Yeah, it's great. This is going to be phenomenal. This Julie Anna Potts, North American Meat Institute. Thank you. Thank you, Julie, very much. Darren Armstrong, U.S. Grains Council. Hi, Darren. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much. Hobie Bond, Virginia Poultry Federation. Hobie, thank you very much. Tom Nassif, Western Growers Association.
Mr. President.
Good, thank you, Tom.
Remembering fresh produce.
You better believe it. Thank you. Congratulations. Say hello to everybody. Tom Stenzel, United Fresh Produce Association.
Yes, sir.
Tom, thank you very much. Saw you back there. Vince Peterson, U.S. Wheat Associates. Vince?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. It's going to be a lot of wheat. A lot of wheat going to Japan. And Fred Wacker, Montana Stock Growers Association.
Mr. President.
Fantastic. Thank you
so
very
very much.
Fantastic job you've all done. And again, my friend.
President, thank you.
Great job, Steve. Okay, so we've had a tremendous success. Likewise, we're having a lot of successes. We have tremendous success at the border. I want to thank Mexico for what they've been doing. You look at numbers, they're tumbling down. This is one on catch and release. Look at that. See that, fellas? Catch and, would you say that's pretty good? I'd say it's pretty good. I'd say it's pretty amazing, Steve, even from your standpoint, Steve, fellas. That's some number, huh? Getting down to almost zero, look. So it was not doing so good for a long time, catch and release. We had no help from the do-nothing Democrats. So we did it with Mexico, we did it with Guatemala, we did it with some countries that really stepped, El Salvador, Honduras, and other countries that are signing Safe Third agreements, which nobody thought would be even possible. And the border is really doing well. And again, Mexico today has 27,000 soldiers. 27,000. I want to thank the president of Mexico because he's been great. But the border is really looking good. The wall is moving rapidly. Large sections are being built every day. More contracts are being given out. We're doing it in about 17 different sections because it's over 450 miles long, the area we have to close up, and could even hit 500 at some point. And we expect to have anywhere between 400 and 500 built, hopefully by the end of next year. It's going up very rapidly. It's a very powerful wall. It's got everything you can have. It was the Border Patrol just left, actually. We were going over some of the numbers, and we gave them every single element of the wall that they wanted. We had mountain climbers come in to climb. Do you believe this? We had different samples put up, and we had mountain climbers literally come in, which is the hardest one to climb. The panel, the steel panel on top, makes it very difficult. It's called an anti-climb paddle. I never thought I'd be doing this for a living. We built an anti-climb paddle. Without the panel, they get across it easy. With the panel, it's not so easy. So anti-climb panel at the top. And the border's coming along well. The economy is doing great. We're doing, as I said before, we're the hottest economy in the world. We're the largest economy in the world. We're up $15 trillion at least since the election. 15 trillion, and China's down probably 22 or 24 trillion. So I think China might have caught us. If my opponent had gotten in by now, they would have caught us. And now it's going to be a long time before they catch us. If they ever catch us, I don't think anybody's going to catch us. If we're smart, nobody will catch us. So with that being said, if you have any questions on the trade deal, please, anything on the trade deal specifically? Yeah, please.
In Any predictions about China? Do you expect a whole new offer? Any optimism?
Well, they want to make a deal. They're down 3.5 million jobs since we started doing what we do. And their supply chain is really cracked and broken, and they want to make a deal. Now, they're coming to see us on Thursday and Friday. We think there's a chance that we could do something very substantial, Bob. I think you think that. We'll see what happens. But in the meantime, we're taking in billions and billions of dollars of tariffs every month. And we've never had this. We never took in 10 cents from China. Now we're taking in billions of dollars and tens of billions a year. And on October 15th, as you know, it goes up to 35. I guess it goes to 35. It's going to raise fairly substantially. We could always do it a lot more, but we've decided not to. So that's the story. And I think that they're coming to make a deal. We'll see whether or not a deal can be made, but it's got to be a fair deal. Look, we've lost $500 billion a year for many, many years on average. If you include intellectual property theft and all of the other things that took place, it's incredible that past administrations could have allowed it to happen. We're talking about $500 billion, not million. That's a lot too. $500 billion a year for many years taken out of our country. We rebuilt China. They did a great job, and I don't blame them. I told President Xi, I don't blame you one bit. I blame the people that ran this country to allow that to happen, and they understand that. But we don't let that happen anymore. So we'll see what happens. We're going to have a very important meeting, and they have their top people coming in, and I have my top people doing the job. And if I don't think they're doing a good job, I'll fire them, and I'll go over and take their place. Okay? Yeah, please.
Hong Kong, sir, are the Hong Kong protests linked, in your view, to the China trade negotiations in any way?
Well, we'd like to see a very humane solution to that. I hope that's going to happen. And, you know, Hong Kong is very important as a world hub, not just for China, but for the world. And you have great people over there. I see they're flying the American flags. They even have signs, make China great again, make Hong Kong great again. I'm saying, get those signs. But they have, you know, tremendous signage and tremendous, they have a tremendous spirit for our country. A lot of American flags, a lot of Trump signs. I'd just like to see a humane deal be worked out. And I think President Xi has the ability to do it. I've sort of said that I think if he met, he's a very convincing man, and I think if he met with some of the leaders, that could be one problem. You don't seem to have a specific leader of the group, but I really think they can do something. We just want to see a humane solution.
Did you tell Xi Jinping in any way that you would be quiet about the Hong Kong protests during the course of these negotiations?
No, I didn't, but I do say that we are negotiating. If anything happened bad, I think that would be a very bad thing for the negotiation. I think politically it would be very tough, maybe for us and maybe for some others and maybe for him. But no, I think that they have to do that in a peaceful manner. It's now I will say the first time I saw it, if you look a number of months ago, I saw 2 million people. I've never seen anything like it. We talk about crowd size. That was serious crowd size, right? The crowd size is much smaller now, so maybe that's saying something. But hopefully they can work out something that's amicable. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, would you accept a partial trade deal with China? There's been some talk today about whether or not it could be headed in that direction.
Well, it's a very good question. I think it's not what we prefer at all. They are starting to buy a lot of our agricultural products. You see that? They're coming in very strong, on pork also, very, very strong, and in particular, but on other products so I don't know if you call that a partial. We don't have an agreement. My inclination is to get a big deal. We've come this far. We're doing well. Again, the fact that they've done what they've done with their currency, the devaluation, it really has not increased prices. Now we're talking China. It doesn't mean that in all cases that happens. Other countries' prices increase, but in the case of China, that hasn't happened. And they put a lot of money into their goods. They want to keep their people working. I understand that very well. But I think that we just have to see what happens. I would much prefer a big deal, and I think that's what we're shooting for. Can something happen? I guess maybe. Who knows? But I think it's probably unlikely. Okay?
Mr. President, on Syria, on withdrawing forces
Yeah.
from Syria, why are you siding with an authoritarian leader and not our Kurdish allies?
Well, I'm not siding with anybody. We've been in Syria for many years. You know, Syria was supposed to be a short-term hit, just a very short-term hit, and we were supposed to be in and out. That was many, many years ago, and we only have 50 people in that area. That's a small sector, and I don't want those 50 people hurt or killed or anything. I don't want anything bad to happen to our people, and I told that to President Erdogan. I said, don't hurt any of our people get hurt. Big trouble. Now, a couple of things. I think there's a lot of pressure on Turkey. They've been fighting with the PKK for many years. They're natural enemies. Have you read today a couple of reports saying that when President Obama started this whole thing, as you know, it was started by President Obama, he created a natural war with Turkey and their longtime enemy, PKK, and they're still there, and they're still hating each other beyond anybody's belief. But I've told Turkey that if they do anything outside of what we would think is humane, to use the word a second time, we talk about Hong Kong, we talk about this, they could suffer the wrath of an extremely decimated economy. And I've done it once. I did it with Pastor Brunson. You remember the Pastor Brunson? And they wouldn't give Pastor Brunson back, and they ended up giving Pastor Brunson back pretty quickly. Their currency fell at record levels, and lots of other things happened. And it was good. I have a very good relationship with President Erdogan. I want to see it happen. I will tell you this, though. We defeated ISIS. And when we were at 96 and 95 and 97%, I sort of said, let the other countries in the area finish it off. And I was met with a lot of anger from some people in our country. I said, all right, I'll finish it off. And I got together with our generals. I flew to Iraq. I got together, and we did it very quickly, far quicker than any general from here told us we could do it. We had some great people over there. They did it quickly. And I said to the European countries, you got to take your ISIS. You know, we have 60,000, maybe even 70,000 people. That includes families, that includes wives of fighters that were killed. We have many fighters that were killed in the battles. And we took it over. 100% of the caliphate I took over quickly. Nobody else was. It was a mess when I came to office, and I think most of you would agree to that. It was a real mess. I took it over, but then I said, what are we going to do with these 60 to 70,000 people that are being held and being guarded, and we can't release them, and many fighters also? And I said, I want them to go back to Germany, to France, to different European countries from where they came. And I said to the European countries, I said to all of them, take the people back. And they said, no, we don't want to do it. We don't want them back. I said, well, they came from Germany or they came from France, take them back. And they're so used to the United States being a sucker, being a fool. We're talking about billions and billions of dollars. You're talking about life. You're talking about so many things, so many elements, and elements of complexity, because they're going to walk back into Germany. They're going to go back into these countries from where they came. So I said, take them back. And they said, no. And then I said again, I'm going to give you another 30 days. Take them back. And they kept saying no. Maybe they won't be saying no now. I don't know. So I told President Erdogan, it's going to be your responsibility. Now, really, who's responsible? It's really Russia, it's Turkey, it's Iran, it's Iraq, and it's Syria, and anybody else in the neighborhood. Okay, we call it the neighborhood. It's not a friendly neighborhood. But these countries should do it. Now, ISIS is the sworn enemy of all these countries. Many of them, they hate far more than they hate us. And those countries hate them at the same level as we do. They're terrible, terrible, savage killers. I said, take them back. But these countries are rich in most cases. They're powerful. They've got armies. They can do the work. But we're not bringing 50, 60, 70, or even 10,000 people to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. We're not going to be paying them for the next 50 years or paying to take care of them for the next 50 years. So we told Europe, we did a great service to the world, and we did a great service to Europe in particular, where so many of these fighters came from. We said take them back, and unfortunately, like NATO, they take advantage. NATO, as you know, I got the Secretary General, Stolheim, said, and I think very loudly, Secretary General of NATO said that because of what I did, they have paid over $100 billion more money toward NATO defense. But that's still not enough, okay? It's still not enough, not fair, because the United States pays far too much relative, and obviously NATO affects them more. But like NATO, like trade with the European Union, which is a very tough group to trade with, very, very tough group, almost as tough as Japan, not quite. But they're a very tough group to trade with. They take advantage. And I said, look, you take them back. We're not going to do this. We're not going to put them in Guantanamo Bay and put them all over our prisons. So right now we're at a position where if Turkey does anything out of what they should be doing, we will hit them so hard on the economy. But when you talk about soldiers, we only had 50 soldiers in the area. I think the area it's a very small area, but we only had 50 soldiers there. I don't want them to be in a bad or compromising position. And I will tell you this, everybody respects our country again. If we want to go in, if we have to go back for any reason, because bad things happen, but we're 7,000 miles away. These ISIS people, whatever you want to call them, these people are right there. They're right there. They're touching many of these countries that I just named. Iran, as an example, hates ISIS, and ISIS hates Iran. Iraq, you know all about that. Turkey, Syria, let them take care of it. Let them take care of it. We want to bring our troops back home. It's been many, many years. It's been decades in many cases. We want to bring our troops back home. And I got elected on that. If you go back and look at our speeches, I would say we want to bring our troops back home from these endless wars. And we're like a police force over there. We're policing. We're not fighting, we're policing. We're not a police force. We're the greatest military force ever assembled because of what I've done over the last 3 years with $2.5 trillion, Mr. Ambassador, we've spent on our military. $2.5 trillion. But we're not going to be there longer. And we're going to be watching Turkey, and we hope that them and all of the other countries, or some of the other countries, including the European Union, goes in and does whatever they're supposed to do with these captured ISIS fighters and families. Okay?
A number of Republicans, including Nikki Haley and Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell, were very critical of this decision today. Mitch McConnell put out a statement saying he wished he would exercise leadership and reconsider, and suggested not doing so would be reminiscent of what the Obama administration would do. Would you respond to them, sir? And also,
Yeah.
did you
Sure.
consult with the Joint Chiefs of Staff when you made the decision?
Sure. I consulted with everybody. I always consult with everybody. If you remember, about 8 months ago, I talked about doing this, and we kept 2,000 people there and then slowly brought them out. But once we captured ISIS, I don't want to stay there for the next 40 years. Not going to do anything. The end game is going to be the same. I have great respect for all of the people that you named. And they have their opinion, and a lot of people do. And I could also name many more than you just named of people that totally are supportive. You see the names coming out. People are extremely thrilled because they say it's time to bring our people back home. We're not a police force. They're policing the area. We're not a police force. The UK was very thrilled at this decision. As you know, they're over there. They have soldiers over there also, and others. But many people agree with it very strongly, and I understand both sides of it. I fully understand both sides of it. But I campaigned on the fact that I was going to bring our soldiers home and bring them home as rapidly as possible. We, all together, we defeated and took over 100% of the ISIS caliphate. Everybody said that was going to be an impossible thing to do. I did it, and I did it quickly because we have a great military now. When I took over our military, we didn't have ammunition. I was told by a top general, maybe the top of them all, "Sir, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have ammunition." I said, "I'll never let another president have that happen to him or her." We didn't have ammunition. Now we've captured ISIS. We've done what we've done. We had 50 soldiers in the area you're talking about. And I said, we want to bring our soldiers back home. It's been a long time. Again, we were supposed to be in there for just a tiny spot, like a 30 to 90-day period. That was many years ago. It's time.
The Kurds themselves have lost thousands of fighters in.
That's true. And we've lost a lot of fighters, too.
Their safety?
Well, we're going to try. If you look at some of the Kurds, as you know, that's a natural enemy of Turkey. Specifically, as I said, I mean, they have natural enemies. They've been fighting each other for, somebody said today, hundreds of years. I mean, one historian said they've been fighting for hundreds of years. We interject ourselves into wars, and we interject ourselves into tribal wars and revolutions and all these things that are very, they're not the kind of thing that you settle the way we'd like to see it settled. It just doesn't work that way. But hopefully that'll all be very strong and strongly done. We're spending tremendous amounts of money. I can tell you the two countries that are most disappointed that we're leaving are China and Russia, because they love that we're bogged down and just watching and spending tremendous amounts of money instead of continuing to build our forces. We have tremendous new weapons under development now. We have weapons that nobody can even believe. We're going to be making some stops over the next 4 or 5 weeks. Some we show, some we don't show. But we've rebuilt our nuclear. We've renovated and rebuilt nuclear. We're building submarines, the likes of which they've never been even thought of before. The genius of them, hopefully, and hope to God we never have to use them. But we are doing what we have to do. But we've been there for many years, many years beyond what we were supposed to be. Not fighting, just there. And it's time to come back home. But I can understand the other side of it. But if you go by the other side, that means we should never, ever come home. We should never, ever come home. And, you know, I have to sign letters often to parents of young soldiers that were killed. And it's the hardest thing I have to do in this job. I hate it. Afghanistan. I signed one the other day, Iraq. Syria. They get blown up by mines. They get taken out by a sniper. And I have to write letters to people. And we make each letter different. Each person is different. And we make them personal, but no matter what you do, it's devastating. The parents will never be the same. The families will never be the same. People are killed. Many people are still being killed. It's going to go on that way for perhaps a long time. And we're willing to do what we have to do, but there has to be an end game. And if you stay, it's going to be the same thing. Eventually, you're going to have to leave. It's going to be the same thing. So I think what we're doing is the right thing. A lot of people agree with me. And again, you go back and see my speeches. A big part of my speech, and always when I won what some people consider to be a surprise election, now I just see a poll that just came out where I'm up massively with independent voters. I don't know if it's this or because of the hoax, you know, that's going on with Nancy Pelosi and her friend Adam Schiff. He's another beauty. He got caught lying all over the place. He doesn't know what to do. He's a mess. Right now he's a mess, and everybody knows it. Just all you have to do is a little good reporting. You'll see he's a total mess because he got caught. But, you know, we have to do the right thing for our country, whatever it may be, and I just think that's the right thing. I respect both opinions. The problem with the other opinion is, when do we leave? When do we leave? We're going to stay there forever? Yeah, Jeff?
Mr. President, the White House counsel's office is preparing a letter
Yeah.
to Speaker Pelosi about the impeachment inquiry. What do you hope to achieve with that?
Well, first of all, the impeachment inquiry is a scam. The conversation that I had with the Ukrainian president, Zelensky, was a very good it was a very cordial, very good conversation. The mistake they made, the opponents, the opposition, the Democrats, the radical left, deep state, whatever you want to call them, they came out with a whistleblower report before they saw the conversation. Had they waited one day, Nancy Pelosi wouldn't have made a fool out of herself, and she would have been able to say what I said, because when she saw it, she said, this is not what the whistleblower said. I had a very, very congenial, nice conversation with a man that I like, and he ran on corruption. Because, as you know, Ukraine is known as a very corrupt country, one of the most in the world, shockingly, because I know Ukrainian people. It's surprising to me, but it's known as one of the most corrupt countries. And under the past leadership, it was having a lot of difficulty. This gentleman, the current president, the new president, ran on the basis of anti-corruption, as you know. I think it was his single biggest thing. And we had a great conversation, but it wasn't reported that way. The only reason I would have released a letter, because I think it's terrible to have to release a letter that you have with the leader of a country. I think that's a terrible precedent. But the whistleblower report, or whatever the news was so off. It was so horrible. I said, I never said that. I said, let me see it. We have a stenographer report. We have a very, very word-for-word report of what I said. I released it. And almost everybody that read it said it's either perfect or really very good. But it's a very normal, nice conversation. And when you see that the president of Ukraine, President Zelensky, said, there was no pressure put on me whatsoever. His spokesman came out 2 days ago, said there was absolutely no pressure put on the president. I didn't tell him to say that. There was no pressure put on. All you have to do is read the report. The problem is I released it a day after they had already made their big statements. And again, it's a big scam. And I think Adam Schiff should be investigated for what he did. He took to the great chamber, Congress, and he made a speech. And his speech was a fraud. Everything he said was a fraud. He went out as though I wrote it. He defrauded the American people. He defrauded Congress. He defrauded himself and his family. He made a speech as the horrible speech. I said, what is this? What's going on here? I think he's having some kind of a breakdown, because he got up and made a speech that bore no relationship to what the conversation was. And I'll tell you, a lot of people heard that speech, and a lot of people thought that's what I said because they heard his speech, because they're not going to read a 3 or 4 page conversation. They don't have access to it. But I thought it was I thought it was a terrible thing, where he's going up, speaking as the President of the United States, saying things that I never said. And the meaning was horrible, and the whole thought was horrible. And then the whistleblower, he did, through his committee, through himself, he met with a whistleblower. They never said that. They never talked about it. And Nancy Pelosi knew all of this stuff. I mean, she's as guilty as he is, because she knew all that. She knew everything about it, and she didn't do anything about it. And I'll tell you what, they should really be looked at very strongly, because what they did is unthinkable. What they did to this country is unthinkable. And it's lucky that I'm the president, because I guess, I don't know what, a lot of people said very few people could handle it. I sort of thrive on it. You know why? Because it's so important that we get to the bottom. We went through the whole Mueller scam, 2.5 years. We went through that, and I had 3-4 days where it was like over. And then I'm walking into the United Nations, and they released it as I'm walking in, Mr. Ambassador. I'm walking in. I'm going to meet with, I won't name, but one of the top leaders of the world. And I see up on the screen, and people start screaming about this scam called impeachment. You can't impeach a president for doing a great job. You can't impeach a president for having the lowest and best unemployment numbers that we've had in 51 years. You can't impeach a president for tax cuts and regulation cuts and creating, and even the ambassador would say, the strongest economy in the world. We have the strongest economy in the world. This is a scam, and the people are wise to it. And that's why my polls went up. I think they said 17 points in the last 2 or 3 days. I've never had that one. I've never had that one. So I think it's very sad for our country. I think it makes it harder to do my job. But I do my job, and I do it better than anybody's done it for the first 2.5 years based on results. I mean, you look at not only the unemployment numbers, look at the employment numbers, Jeff. We're up to almost 160 million people are working. And now today we signed the deal with Japan, which is such an honor. And you have a great country, a great, great country. And to have you partake in our agricultural product and digital is a real honor for me. So thank you very much for coming all this distance and to be here, and I look forward to seeing you for many years to come. Please, again, wish Prime Minister Abiy a happy birthday. He's a very special man. Thank you. Thank you very much.